Welcome to Das Geek. It's been a minute, but this video is really important. Probably my last video of 2024. We'll have some more content in 2025. I'm going to try and cut back on all the editing and things just so I can get content out. Let me know in the comments if that's okay with you. I appreciate you all hanging on to this channel for so long. This video is very important because it goes past the subject of does privacy matter. At this point, if you're watching this and you're not a member of this channel, then you're probably starting to wonder, hey, this privacy thing seems to be more important than I thought it was, and I want to do something to stop it. So this isn't the argument for does privacy matter. I'm assuming if you're watching this, you've already come to that conclusion. Congratulations, this is an important first step because a lot of people can never get past the idea that privacy really matters, although there's so much data now supporting it, from documentaries to news articles coming out every day about data being taken, people being stalked with the data, people paying higher rates of insurance, or being declined for jobs or loans and other things because of all their data being out there. So people are finally waking up and starting to realize, hey, maybe giving all my information away does matter after all. So we're past that part. Now, what do you do, and is it too late? The first and most important question that I want to answer in this video is the question of, is it too late to get started? Because a lot of people feel like, hey, I've already signed up for Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. I've put all of my data on every social site out there. Is it too late to care about privacy? And the answer is no. And I'm going to tell you why it's not too late to start caring about your privacy. Essentially, companies, for the most part, it can be used maliciously, but for the most part, companies are getting your data because they want to sell you stuff. Now, this has become more and more malicious as they realize people don't care about their data, and now they're utilizing it to qualify you for things as well, even getting jobs. So this becomes more of an importance, as we mentioned at the beginning. So the most relevant data to them is the most current data. For instance, I did have a situation in which I was breached. My Microsoft credentials for an old Outlook account that I had got breached. And the person trying to breach them had my information. They had a username and they had a password that had been leaked in some breach at some point. But that password I had rotated out a long time ago. So I saw them trying to get into my account, but they were never able to get in because they were utilizing these old credentials that had been leaked. So the importance of the data is that the data is current. Now, if you never, for instance, rotate your passwords, then that data is always current. So data for these companies, the importance of it to sell you new information is to know who you are as a person right now, because you've changed a lot between the time you were a teenager to a young adult to an older adult. There's lots of changes that go on. What you like, what you dislike, who you hang out with, your political views, all of these things shift constantly. And it's very important that they have the most relevant information on you as possible. So if you start today, then the data that they have on you stops being relevant. And the less relevant it becomes, the less useful it becomes. And companies don't even want to buy it, right? Because it's got old information in there that is worthless to these companies. And for the most part, there are a group of companies, again, using this for okay purposes. They just want to sell you stuff. They want to know who you are so they could sell you stuff better. And then there are companies who are using it for nefarious purposes. And then there are companies who are okay, but they leave your credentials and data out there for everybody to mine or steal or get a hold of because they don't have proper precautions on the privacy out there. So even if their intentions are not nefarious, they're just wanting to get right products in front of you, their ability to manage that data, there are no laws here, at least in the United States, that protect you from that. Okay, so what I want to do is, we've established that privacy is important. You're watching this video, assume you agree with that. Number two, we've established that the age of the data is important. So you can start today and it will make an impact. So what I want to do, instead of giving you this long laundry list of really complex privacy steps that you can take, is I want to give you just 5 simple things that you could complete these 5 things in the next 20 minutes, and you will be well on your way to having far more privacy. Now, are there many more steps that you could take? Absolutely. Is there things you could do where you could end up with a tinfoil hat sitting in a couch and having no friends but you'll be super private? Yes. We want to find that somewhere in between, right? So these are 5 simple things. What are these things? So first, what I want you to do is go on your phone and install DuckDuckGo. Now, this is a privacy focused browser. I would like you to use this browser, but you don't have to do that. What I want you to do is install DuckDuckGo, and I want you to go into the settings and turn on, in the settings of DuckDuckGo, the app, their app tracking protection. Now, what this does is block all of the ads and all of the data that's leaving your phone from these apps. And it's an amazing first step because likely your phone is your biggest leak of your privacy that you have out there. So the very first step is very simple. You download this browser. If you don't want to use it as your main browser, fine, you should, but you don't have to. You can still use whatever you're using. We'll get to that later on. And just go to settings and turn on app tracking protection. And what you're going to see is that counter for that app tracking protection is going to start to climb. You're going to see how many of these apps that you have are sending hundreds and hundreds of pings of information with your location, your name, all of this stuff right away. Most important step you can take. Number 2, I want you to utilize a password manager. Why a password manager is important is just like the breach we talked about earlier with the Microsoft account. You want to rotate your passwords, you want to change those passwords, but you've got hundreds of accounts probably out there, at least dozens. And you want to be able to have complex passwords that are different for each site. But how do you remember them all? That's where a password manager comes in. So the most trusted password managers, KeePass and Bitwarden. There's also Proton Pass out there, which we're going to get to another product of theirs in a second called Proton Mail. So you may just want to sign up for Proton Mail, Proton Pass. By the way, you can sign up for all of these services absolutely free. Costs you $0. You can pay for their services. They have premium versions, but you can get started for free and use it forever for free. For that matter, if you want some of the more advanced features, then you'll have to pay a little bit. Next, I want you to delete any unnecessary apps on your phone. So the photo editing apps made by God knows who, the financial apps, the coupon apps, all of that stuff that you don't use, games you don't play, and you didn't pay for. So, they're getting your information from you somehow. They're getting money from you somehow, and that's your data out there. It always cracks me up when people say, my data doesn't matter. I'm not a tech billionaire. Who cares? Blah, blah, blah. Well, clearly your data is very, very important to these companies who are constantly trying to take it. So think about why it's so vitally important that they want to track every little detail about you if the data doesn't matter. Look at also for the apps that you decide to keep, look at the data safety and privacy safety section of each of those apps. So if you go into the Play Store or if you're on iOS, whatever the heck their store is called, they'll have a section with the privacy in there. It'll talk about what data it collects and things. Now, that's not perfect. Again, I'm not going to overly complicate things, but if you see stuff in there, like you have an app that I don't know is for tracking expenses or tracking calories, and it wants your location information, your financial information, tracking calls on your phone and all this stuff, that would be very suspicious as to why that kind of app would need that kind of stuff. And you may just find another app or delete it. Look for something preferably that's open source. But again, we're not going to overcomplicate things. Really simple stuff here. You're going to install DuckDuckGo. You're going to use a password manager, and you're going to delete unnecessary apps and review any apps that you decide that you're going to keep. Look at the privacy information and really make sure that you want to use that service, because a lot of these these apps, these services, you don't need an app for. You can actually just go through your browser and log into them, and you don't have the actual app itself. And then if you have a good browser protection, like you're using DuckDuckGo browser for that, say, so social media sites you can't live without, you can clear a shortcut for that browser on your phone, and you can just use the browser itself, which would be a little safer than the app. Quit using your real information is number 4 to sign up for everything. In fact, stop signing up for everything. Stop giving your phone number every time you make a transaction at a store. Like, what's your phone number? What's your name? Can we create a profile on you? No, like, I'm going to hand you money. You're going to hand me the product, end of transaction. You don't need all of these apps for fast food, shopping, every game discount card. I don't have any of them, and somehow I manage just fine. So yes, they have great deals on there to try to get you to sign up. And there's a reason for that. If they get your data, they can make more money off you because they could sell that data to other people as well. So they're getting money for the food and they're selling your data on top of it. And they're also tracking everything that you're doing in there. Finally, and so 5 easy steps you could do 20 minutes. Switch to Proton Mail or Tuta.com. It used to be Tutanota. Both are privacy email services, and use those for your bills, medical, anything you don't want algorithms going against. Private emails you send to spouses, friends, those type of things. Utilize your Proton Mail account or your Tuta account for those. You can still keep your Gmail and all the other accounts, use them for junk mail. Again, stop signing up for stuff, so you should start getting a lot less junk mail. Unsubscribe to a lot of stuff if you can. But again, keeping it under something you could do in 20 minutes, just sign up for Proton Mail or Tuta.com. Personally, I'm on Proton Mail. I have Tuta as well, but Proton's probably the easiest and best interface if you're looking for something very similar to replace your Gmail. And you can use the app for that. It's fine. It's privacy focused email service, and utilize that as your main account for all of your important data, because they don't have algorithms that are running against your inbox to sell your data like a lot of the other free email services out there are. And you can sign up for those two for free. Again, they have a premium services as well. Those are free. So that's 5 easy tips you can do in less than 20 minutes. What have we established in this video? What have we filled our brains with in this video? Number 1, privacy matters. Hopefully you've already established that. Number 2, that it matters starting today. So you can, even if you were the most unprivate person, signed up for everything, have every app possibly known to mankind downloaded, you're on every social media site, you can start today, and it just becomes just as relevant as the data starts to age. It becomes less important, and you'll start falling off. There are a lot of other steps that we can take, password manager, email, and we can take past that stuff, but those will get you well started on your path to privacy. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you guys have a fantastic holiday season with your spouses, with your friends, with your family. And we have our 400th episode of Destination Linux coming out. So make sure that you check that out. We're going to be doing that live, which is crazy. Until next time, stay private, keep your data private, be a privacy warrior, and fill your brains.